Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
Tragedy tonight on a cliff in Escondido. A man doing work on wildlife cameras died after falling down a steep cliff. Good evening, I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Our 10 News reporter Matt Boone was there as rescuers recovered the body.
That climber was out in a remote canyon off Highland Valley Road out past a winery doing wildlife research when something went horribly wrong. The sheriff's department rescue chopper hoisted the man off the side of a cliff around 4:30. Firefighters say he'd been climbing along the steep face using ropes when an hour earlier he fell about 50 feet. When rescuers finally brought him to flat ground, the man was unconscious and they began performing CPR waiting for an air ambulance to arrive. That was called off, however, when they were unable to resuscitate the man. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The area is located off Highland Valley Road in between Escondido and Ramona, near the Speckle Rock Vineyard. The man was a wildlife researcher who authorities say had been out there replacing batteries on cameras for owl and eagle nests. The man was in his 70s, and a friend said he would often go climbing out there for maintenance, calling it an accident. Authorities have not yet said why he fell or exactly how he died. And we still don't yet know the identity of that person who died. We're still waiting on the medical examiner to release the name. Reporting in Escondido, Matt Boone, 10 News.
Thank you, Matt. He was nearly killed while at Northern Arizona University, and now the gunman who shot this San Diegan in the neck has changed his plea.
He pled guilty to manslaughter today, weeks before his second trial. Our 10 News reporter Anthony Pura is here with that part of the story.
That's right. That first trial ended in a deadlock, and now we won't be seeing a second one. The defendant took a plea deal. He's facing 5 to 10 years in jail. He's also been ordered to pay restitution to the victims and their families. This is a picture of Nick Prado's neck, stitched up after he was shot more than 4 years ago when he was a student at Northern Arizona University. Prado spoke with 10 News in 2016, showing us the bullet that hit him.
As it hit the chain, it made it kind of go into my neck.
Prado and 3 of his fraternity brothers were shot on October 9th, 2015. One of them, Colin Brew, died.
I had times where it was hard, but I feel, wanting to honor Colin, honor his memory, and do good, live for him.
The victims and their families have been waiting this whole time for justice. Thursday, Stephen Jones pled guilty to manslaughter charges. It comes weeks before a new trial was set to start. The first trial ended with the jury deadlocked on murder and aggravated assault charges. Jones said the shooting was self-defense after a fight. Jones's attorney explained their decision to take the plea deal.
This is always bittersweet. We were ready for trial, but this gives closure to both sides, and Stephen in the end decided that was best.
Prado and his mother declined an interview Thursday, but told us Nick still lives with numbness to the left side of his body following the shooting. An attorney representing 3 of the victims sent a statement that said, in part, the victims in this case are not receiving the full justice they were expecting, but they are receiving some closure after over 4 years. Now, Jones won't have to turn himself in until next week. His sentencing scheduled for February 11th. Prado's mother says they plan to attend the sentencing. Anthony Pura, 10 News.
Video appears to show the moment a Ukrainian jetliner was hit by an Iranian missile. This video is from the last tracked position of the 737. It shows what's believed to be a missile hitting something in the sky. The plane crashed just 3 miles away. You can see the impact in surveillance video. These images reinforcing Western intelligence that Iran's anti-aircraft system hit the jetliner. The 176 people on board were all killed. More than a third of them were Canadian.
The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional.
Iran says it's invited Boeing and impacted countries to participate in the investigation, including the U.S.
Now back to Washington, where President Trump is hitting the campaign trail. This comes after House Democrats took a vote on a resolution to limit the president's war powers. That new resolution requires that the president get congressional approval for any future military action against Iran. This is for any conflict that lasts longer than 30 days. Tonight, the president defended his decision to kill Iran's top general, Qasem Soleimani, with a new explanation.
We did it because they were looking to blow up our embassy. We also did it for other reasons that were very obvious.
Iran has threatened more attacks. The Trump administration says the United States remains ready to address any threat.
Meantime, protesters gathered in La Jolla tonight to express their disappointment with the president. The group stood on the corner of Torrey Pines Road and La Costa Village Drive. They say President Trump's actions in Iran have endangered countless lives, including U.S. troops and civilians in the Middle East. They want their voices heard to make sure the country is not forced into another war.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is standing by her decision to keep holding on to the 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump.
No, I'm not holding him indefinitely. I'll send him over when I'm ready. And that will probably be soon.
Pelosi says that she is waiting on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. She wants him to announce the trial rules so that she can choose which House members will prosecute the case. The strategy was also to pressure Republicans to call witnesses and demand documents that the House never saw. Today, President Trump said that he'd leave it up to McConnell on whether to call witnesses. Democrats want to call former National Security Advisor John Bolton. If he does show up, the president has indicated the White House may restrict what Bolton will be allowed to say.
Your voice, your vote. Businessman Tom Steyer has reached enough support in the polls to take part in next week's Democratic presidential debate. He'll join former Vice President Joe Biden and former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg on the stage. Also there, Senators Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Amy Klobuchar. The deadline to make the debate closes Friday at midnight. And CNN Des Moines Register debate takes place Tuesday night.
An El Cajon community was on edge after one of their neighbors got into a standoff with police. So police were initially called to question the man for domestic violence. Well, that's when things started getting out of control. Police told neighbors to stay back.
He has basically been in that window, banging on the glass, taunting us or them, flipping off the cops. He did make a comment that he was going, well, we heard the cops say that he made a comment saying that he was going to burn the apartment down. Well,
the man then broke a window, put up a mattress to block the opening. Police broke down the front door and released a canine, allowing officers to restrain the man. The man has minor injuries from the dog attack and is now in the hospital.
Parents in Alpine on edge. This after a truck approached students as they walked to and from school. A statement from the school district says students were approached by a gray or white 4-door truck with tinted windows, and it was near Victoria Drive and Sneath Way. The sheriff's department said the driver slowed down near the children. No contact was made between the people inside the truck and the children, but still parents are reminding their kids of stranger danger.
Scream, yell, kick, whatever you have to do. You make the biggest scene, because I know you can. I've seen your tantrums, so I'm telling her, you be the worst child you could ever possibly be. And if they say they're going to hurt mom or dad, just let them know I'm coming after them and I will hurt them.
The school district says there will be extra patrols and deputies at schools when that final bell rings.
People hoping to improve their health say they were tricked into buying a hydrogen water machine for thousands of dollars.
Team 10 investigator Jennifer Kastner sat down with a local woman battling a serious illness who says she fell for it.
My life looks like my nightmare.
Margot Gunning of Scripps Ranch was healthy and successful until 2 years ago when she became deathly ill with Lyme disease and now lives with her mother. After failed treatments, she discovered Trucy, which sells molecular hydrogen water systems. Among the biohacking community, hydrogen water is believed to have health benefits. Gunning says it was her understanding that she could get reimbursed for one of the systems by participating in a Trucy case study. The deal was the company would pay her back monthly for doing questionnaires and reviews, but first she'd have to buy or finance the nearly $10,000 machine. She took out a loan and waited for this to arrive, but when it did, she says it was missing parts and
the bubbles stopped coming out after a month.
She also says the reimbursement checks never came despite her reviews. She's not alone. A Facebook group exists with more than 500 people, many claiming to be in similar situations.
Is any part of your business a scam? Absolutely not.
One of Trucy's owners, Jeff Teraday, says the claims against Trucy were ignited by a disgruntled former company partner, William Kuo, who created the Facebook group to push a false narrative that Trucy was a sham operation. Kuo says that's a lie. According to Teraday, the machines are tested before leaving the warehouse.
It was never designed to be a free machine or a reimbursement that was guaranteed.
He says participants would only be compensated after complying with the program requirements. Teraday says Gunning did not comply, which she disputes. More than 100 people have filed complaints with the Florida Attorney General's office. The BBB has also heard from some of those customers with concerns about the product and its claims.
It literally reminds me of the dirtiest of onions, and you just like peel back a layer, a layer, a layer, a layer.
To target ill people is beyond my ability to comprehend.
Jennifer Kastner, 10 News.